Hi guys, it's your girl Chantel and this is my testimony video. So please bear with me because I have my iPad over here with a few things that I've written down so that I do not forget. But I just want to talk about how God has been so amazing in my life. I made a promise to God that I was going to do this video, and I just want to let you guys know that whatever you're going through or whether life just isn't going as planned, just know that God has a better plan. Like the struggle, the issues you're having now, don't worry, because something big is about to come. Like your biggest blessing is about to come. So this is my testimony, and the title of like just the whole surrounding theme of this video is God has a plan for your life, and that plan is better than the plan you have. In the year of 2022, I graduated in January, and lucky enough I got a job as a fintech company, which I worked at for from February 14th to around May. I was so happy, I was so excited when I graduated because I'm like, look at me, I have a big girl job already, everything is settled. I loved this job a lot, I loved the company a lot, but unfortunately I got laid off. And you guys, getting laid off is the worst thing ever because your mind is not even prepared for it, and it's also a thing of you were doing really well. Like it's not like you were doing really bad at work or your performance was poor. That one, at least you can say okay, you were kind of prepared for it because they'll give you like a warning that you aren't really doing well. When you're getting laid off, it's like, yeah, you are laid off. Like they just come and they just tell you time to leave. So around like May, I slept. I was literally sleeping, and then late in the night I got a notification in my calendar, something about contract updates. What I thought was they were going to extend my contract because I was a contract worker, but my contract was not going to end till August, September. You guys, the next day came, and one of the other girls, that one of my colleagues I work with, she messages me and she's like, she just got fired. I'm like, excuse me, what do you mean by you just got fired? Like, huh? And she's like, yeah, that's what the contract update means. You guys, I know it's time. I called my mom, I started crying. I was crying, I said, God, why? Like, why is this happening to me? Like, this can't be true. And my mom was just trying to calm me down and tell me that I need to stop crying because I'm about to get on a work call. Like, I still need to be professional. So I got on the call, they told me, yeah, you've been laid off. That the next, like, in fact, they didn't even waste time. The following week, yeah, they told me that was going to be the end. They didn't even tell me you're going to be laid off in a few months. They told me, girl, next week Friday is your last day. And the day they told me this was Friday. So I was like, yeah, I'm in trouble. So I asked them why they laid me off. They didn't really give a specific reason, just, you know, money wise, the basic reasons why like a lot of companies, lay off people, usual. So I got laid off, and all I can say is that year of 2022 I thought was going to be the worst year of my life, because immediately after I got laid off I was looking for jobs. I didn't get any jobs. I was just doing interviews upon interviews upon interviews. I literally did not get any job. I was just there waiting for someone to finally say, okay, you're hired. But I never got that. Like, I literally thought my life was gonna end. As well as that, I was just staying home and also seeing my friends and seeing other people working. I felt jobless, I felt useless, and with that I now became depressed. Like, I literally went through depression. I started eating my feelings. I added a lot of weight, and during that time I thought, okay, maybe I could be responsible and do something else with my life during that time. So I decided to prepare for my driving test. So I wrote the written exam with my friend Faith. We wrote it together. I passed, and it was time for me to I actually wrote that written exam I think a year before, because you kind of had to wait in Canada after you write the written test. So it was time for me and Faith to actually do the drive test, and we started practicing. We started taking lessons. You guys, I paid for my driving lessons, and let's say it was up to like I think $700 or $800 like for the lessons. This is someone that is not working. I'm spending money I don't have. You guys, I thought, okay, I'm doing something serious, I'm definitely using this time for something useful. I wrote my driving test. I think this was in June, June, July, around that time. And you guys, guess what? I failed my driving test, and my friend Faith passed. So you guys, I just felt like my life was, that was the end. I thought that was the end for me, like that was it. So I just carried on with my life as usual. I wasn't even praying that much. Like, it wasn't like as if my faith was, like, my Christian faith was stronger. It wasn't like as if, oh, I used to pray. Like, I would pray, I would go to church, but it wasn't consistent. But this one is like I was about to give up. Then one random day in July, it was around the time that my family came, like my brother, my mom, and I have two brothers, and my mom, they came to Canada. They usually come during summer to see me. This was the time that my brother wasn't here. I won't lie, having family really helped me in this situation, because it kind of made me feel like, okay, Christabel, you have to get your shit together. So what happened was that it was around the time my family came. I was at home and I was FaceTiming my friend Kiki, and I don't know what entered me. I just said, let me pray. You guys, I prayed, and I literally burst out into tears. And something in my mind kept telling me, go to church, go to church, go to church. I'm like, go to church? Go to church? Like, I'm like, I don't know who is talking to me, but I have to listen. Like, I have to obey. Like, I have to listen and obey. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to church the next day. And I'm Catholic, so there's something called confession, where you go, you confess your sins. You're usually supposed to do it, like, not every week, but it's supposed to be usual and constant. So you're supposed to you know, do confession and receive Holy Communion in church. So something kept telling me, okay, Christabel, you have to go to church. So immediately while I was on the phone with my friend Kiki, I called the church. I called one of the churches I have that is near me, that's Catholic. And I told them, oh, is there confession tomorrow? They're like, yes. You guys, the next day I literally went. I went to the church. I went for confession, and this one was very different, because this confession was face to face. Like, usually confession is done like in like a room, and then you can't really see the priest's face and they can't really see. But this one, God said, girl, you are not running away. The priest was in front of me, like I was in his office doing my confession. Like, he saw me through and through, and like literally gave me my penance and everything. And one of the things he said was, I have to make a promise to myself. Like, I make a promise to God that I'm going to go to church consistently every Sunday. After I did my confession and I made a promise that, okay, I'm going to go to church consistently every Sunday, I went home feeling refreshed, feeling free from my sins. And you guys, I just felt so good. Like, sometimes you, like, it's not even sometimes, anytime you hear a voice in your head, especially when you're praying, like, just listen to God, because God is usually talking to you. You do have to be careful, and you have to learn how to discern, like have discernment, because not all, sometimes the things you're hearing might not be from God. So you have to be able to discern when God is talking to you and when God is not talking to you. But I'm so grateful that I listened, because immediately after that I felt this form of confidence. I felt better. And you guys, I started going to the gym, started praying more, started going to church, I started spending more time with my friends, and I started preparing more and more for interviews. And lo and behold, I also started preparing for my driving test again. And literally August, the last week of August, you guys will not believe it, God decided to bless me times 2, double blessings. In the morning, on my way to for my driving test, I literally got an email saying, you have been hired. You guys, I was in shock. Like, I was so happy. Literally, like, I was like, oh my God. Like, huh? Is this a joke? Is this real? I was so happy that day that even the driving instructor was like, oh, like, why are you so happy? I'm like, I just got a job. I just got a job. A big girl job. And then immediately after that, I went to go do my driving test. And you guys, that driving test, I was even like, I was not using one hand. I wasn't using one hand, but you guys guess, I was like, oh, I was driving. That day I was driving like no man's business. I was driving like a professional driver. The only thing that they corrected me on was that when I'm going on what's it called, the train, like the pathways where the train passes have to be slower. But you guys, they just told me you've passed. So that day I passed my driving test and I got hired. I got a big girl job. You guys, double blessings. I say my God does not play. My God does not play. That day I was so happy. Like, I was so grateful to God. So I started working September 13th. I started working. I started my big girl job at a tech company. Now moving on, I worked there for I've worked there for like 2-ish years. 2023 September, I already reached 1 year on my postgraduate work permit. So it was time for me to enter into the pool for permanent residency through express entry. And you guys, around that time, Canada started calling some really high scores that I've never ever seen in my entire life. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm in trouble. We have to figure this out real quick, what I'm gonna do. So my options were to learn French. Actually, I think that was the only option I had. I don't know why I'm counting my fingers. I think the only option I had was actually to learn French to boost my scores, and just hope that maybe they will call like a low score eventually. I entered into the pool September 2023, and I entered with the score of 471. I wrote my English test, but unfortunately for my English test, I didn't get 10 or 12 in all areas. I think there was one area I got 9. I was so close to getting 10. So my score was 471, and I needed 3 more points to get to 474, which is basically the highest an international student can have with working for 1 year and passing your English test 10 to 12 in all areas. So I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? What's my solution going to be? But I wasn't really worried until December came and I went back to Lagos. And then I remember one of my friends getting called for PR through OIMP, like an OIMP invitation, and it was through a text stream. And I was like, oh, why wasn't I called? And I was feeling very sad, and my mom told me, you have to be patient, you have to wait for God's timing. There's a reason why you were not called during that time, so just be patient. So I freed my mind. I told myself, we're going to enjoy ourselves in Lagos now, 30 December. When we come back in January, we'll face this issue like an adult. We'll face this issue and figure out a solution. So I came back in January, and my next solution was to rewrite the English test so I can get the full 474 and start learning French, because my postgraduate work permit was going to expire, or rather is going to expire, but is going to expire July of 2025 this year. So I already told myself I'm going to study French from January 2024 to the end of the year and write the English test so I get called with a higher score. You guys, do you know what God did? I just want to give a little backstory to this. I've always wanted my PR. Like, it's something that I've always prayed about for years, especially when they did TR to PR in 2020. I was so disappointed that I had not even yet graduated or close to graduating, so I wasn't able to do the TR to PR pathway. But one thing about me is I was like, God, I really want this thing so bad, to the point where in 2022, I believe it was 2022, you guys, I went to go and do my medicals. I had no business doing medicals, because usually when you submit your PR, they'll probably tell you later on to do your medicals, or you probably submit it like when you get called. But you guys, I was doing my medicals and I had no business doing my medicals. In fact, I had police reports, and like, people actually thought, is this girl okay? But one thing I'll tell you is that you have to have so much faith in God, and you have to act like you already have that blessing. So I didn't really listen to what anybody was saying. I was like, I don't know how God is going to do this, but I'm going to get called for my PR. So I was really ready. I did my medicals. I got police reports. You guys, I was ready. Like, I even made a folder on my laptop titled PR and asked one of my friends who had already applied for all the information required, and I put every single thing inside that folder. Like, you guys, I had everything, from even your first visa, first study permit. I searched for everything and I put in that folder, because one thing about me is I was ready. You have to be prepared. You have to be ready to receive your blessing. Yeah, and I was ready. You have to be ready to receive your blessing. You cannot just be sitting down. Like, you have to have crazy faith. You have to have crazy faith, and that's one thing that I had. I didn't know how God was going to do this, but I was like, God is going to do this thing. So fast forward to 2024. 2024 February. If I have the date, I'll write it here, or I'll probably write all my dates so you guys can have all the steps in the description box below. But basically, I got called around February through OIMP. It was a tech occupation draw for the NOC 22221 for tech user technician, and the score that was called was 471, between 471 and 480. You guys, I had 471, and that was my NOC code. In the morning, I literally received an email saying, oh, you have an email, like a notification in your express entry. I opened it and I saw an invitation from OIMP. You guys, I had 471. That's exactly what I had, and that's what they called. I started thanking God. I started thanking God, because the thing was, I didn't even know what the OIMP thing was. Even though my friend was invited in December, I didn't know what it was. I even thought, oh, like it was probably like a waste of time, because from the way my friend explained it in December, it wasn't a straightforward way. Like, so me, I really thought of it as this is nothing. So I went on Twitter and I messaged Olu. I'm going to try and put his Twitter below. He's really helpful. God bless him. He's amazing. And I just find it strange how God connected me to him, because in 2023 I actually followed him around September when I entered into the pool, and he has a lot of followers. So I don't know how he happened to see my notification and followed me back. So in February, like around the time when I got the email, I followed up by messaging him on Twitter, asking him, okay, what does this mean? And he explained it to me, and I'm just very thankful, because the way God works is like, it's just amazing. Because it's like God connected me to him in 2023 September, so that when this time came in February, I'll be able to talk to him, to ask him, what is this? He explained everything to me. I did not need a lawyer. So what I now did was I started my OIMP application. It's like when the government, that's Ontario, invites you based off a certain NOC code or like a list, and in this my situation, it was a tech draw. So what happened is I got invited, and immediately after that I submitted my OIMP application February 16th. You guys, I don't waste time. quick, I don't waste time. You know, I told you I already had a folder, I already had everything ready. So everything I submitted it, my friends helped me. I did not use any lawyer. I did not use any lawyer at all. I submitted everything on February 16th. 15th of April, I got approved for my OIMP. So OIMP, you have to pay a certain amount of money. I think I paid 1,003, I think, and then you like also, yeah, I think that was all I paid for, and taking my passport photo for it. So I got approved 15th of April, and then I now was still in the pool. So it gives you an extra 900 points. That's what OIMP does. Once you get approved, they give you an extra 900 points. So when you get called through once they call the next general draw, you get called immediately, because your score is like crazy. Because I think that boosted my score to like around 900 and something. So I got called 23rd of April. Like I got called for, like, is the word called? Yeah, like not called, but you get like, I got my invitation. Yeah, that's the right word. I got my invitation for permanent residency through express entry on the 23rd of April. You guys, as you're hearing the dates, I do not waste time. On the 29th of April, I submitted everything, and then 5th of June, they told me to submit my biometrics. So I submitted my biometrics on the 21st of June, because it took a while to get an appointment for biometrics. Like, it's always fully booked. Now for medicals, I didn't have to submit medicals, because for some crazy reason there was a rule on our website that said if you are taking your medicals, I believe within the last 3 years, you can submit that one. And bear in mind, I did my medicals in 2020, I think it was 2022, because I had crazy faith. I took my medicals to the point where God told me, girl, you don't have any worries. Even though you spent your money back then, you're good. So I used my medicals that I did years ago, because, you know, the government of Canada was like, yeah, you can do this. And it was a time that you could only submit your medicals you did within the last 3 years, up until October of 2024. And I'm just like, in all this, I just kept seeing God's hands in everything. I'm like, God, you really planned this thing well, oh, like you really did. I was very shocked. I was like, God, you're too good, because this is just, everything is just aligning. Like, it's so beautiful to see God working in your life and seeing all the little things that God is just preparing for you, because it was so amazing to watch God work in my life and give me my biggest blessing. So anyways, my medicals was already like submitted when I first submitted my residency, so that was the reason why they only asked me for biometrics. Then 21st of August, I got the email with like questions in regards to, there's like questions that they send you before you enter into the portal. So I received that on the 21st of August. Then September 5th, I received my P2. So that was the email that contains your password and your username for your permanent for the permanent residency portal. Then September 7th, I submitted my permanent residency picture. And you guys, on October 1st, 2024, I got congratulations, you are now a permanent resident of Canada. And it's so ironic because it was the same day of Nigeria's Independence Day. So my mom was laughing. She was like, that's so funny. But you guys, God, just look at God. Just, all I can say is just look at God. And October 23rd, I received my permanent residency card in the mail. And I was able to go to Lagos. But the main focus of this story is God's plan was better than my plan all along. Because when I got fired from my first job, which was a fintech job, that job didn't qualify for PR at all. My plan during that year was to get promoted in that company to a role that qualified for PR. That was my plan all along, but I didn't know that God had a bigger plan and I couldn't see it. So I was there crying like, oh my God, my life is over. Oh my God, my life is over. I've lost my job. Meanwhile, I don't know that God is telling me, girl, please calm down. I have a better plan and a bigger plan that you don't see now, but you see later. Because I only got invited for OIMP because of the job that I currently have. That was the only reason why I got invited, because it was a tech job. So God basically had a bigger plan and gave me the tech job that I had the same day that I got my driving license. Like the same day I got my driver's, I passed my driver's test. And that was the job that got me my OIMP, that got me my permanent residency. And that's the thing, God is always constantly working in your life to give you something better. Somebody told me in 2022 when I got laid off and everything in my life was just scattered and I was depressed. If someone told me, girl, you're going to get your PR in 2023 in a way that you don't even know, in a very crazy way that you don't even know that is possible. And also them know how. Like how? Like, just looking back, I wouldn't believe that if somebody told me. So it's just crazy to see how God just like worked in my life. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, it's just so beautiful to see. One thing I would say is I had a Bible verse. Well, it's still the same. It's still my Bible verse of this year, but I have 2 Bible verses for this year because I couldn't let go of the Bible verse that I had last year for 2024. And the Bible verse is Isaiah 43 verse 18 to 19. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the desert and streams in the wasteland. And this verse just basically means, in my own explanation, stop looking behind at your past. Start looking to the future and anticipate good news coming. Whatever may be holding us back, such as wrong thinking, past mistakes, bad experiences, Jesus Christ has already died for them. We are no longer under their control. God will transform our deserts into fields of blessings and our wasteland into gardens of abundance. And that was my Bible verse for last year, and I held it down because that's exactly what God did. God made it possible for me to get my permanent residency in a totally different way. In a time, well, it's still going on, but in a time where they've still not called 471 or 474 to today. I don't even think they've called 480 or 490. I think they've called like 500, because I know they've called the 500s. So I'm really grateful to God, like really grateful to God. And I just want to let you guys know that God is working in your life. You might not see it now, but you will definitely see it later. And one thing I'll say last year, one thing I'll say is this whole experience taught me patience, because I'm someone that's not patient, and God taught me patience. Because during this whole permanent residency application time, I was very scared because I did everything myself. I did the whole application myself. Even a lot of people are very shocked. They're like, oh, you didn't use a lawyer. I did not use a lawyer. Like, I did everything. Like, in fact, God just helped me through everything, because I just trusted that God was going to guide me to submit the right things, to submit properly. I did ask a few of my friends who had already submitted theirs for help, and I asked Olu a lot for help, like once in a while. But you guys have submitted everything, and everything got approved. And it's just crazy, because that was like my main prayer for last year, and God blessed me with it. And so Amaka, pause. So just before I end this video, I just want to leave you with some Bible verses that really stuck with me before I got my PR, and even like while I was in my waiting season. James 1 verse 2. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord, and such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. So that's one of the Bible verses that stuck with me, just basically telling you that anytime you're going through something, depression or anything you're going through, it's testing your faith, but also making your faith stronger. And when you ask and believe that you're going to receive it from God. The next Bible verse I have is John 13 verse 7, which says, you don't understand now what I am doing, but someday you will. One day you will realize that God was putting it all together the whole time. So basically, just knowing that whatsoever you're going through, like even right now, if you're going through something terrible, you're not going to understand anything God is doing. You're even going to be like, God, why? God, why? But one thing that this verse is telling you is that one day you would literally see everything come to full fruition. And that is exactly what I saw. It took 2022, 2023, 2024, 3 years. Yeah, that's a long time. It's not long, but that's a long time. You get? So yeah, you have to be patient. And then I'm going to leave you with these other ones as well. These are just my favorite Bible verses, and I just really want to share with you guys, so you guys can save them and, you know, pray with them. It's good to pray with the word. Genesis 28 verse 15. What's more, I am with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. One day I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I finish giving you everything that I have promised you. God is going to give you everything he has promised you. He's not going to leave you, and he will never leave you. He's always with you. Next Bible verse is my favorite Bible verse ever. It's Habakkuk 2 verse 2 to 3. And then God answered, write this, write what you see, write it out in big block letters, so that it can be read on the run. The vision message is a witness pointing to what's coming. It aches for the coming, it can hardly wait, and it doesn't lie. If it seems slow in coming, wait. It's on its way, and it's come on the right time. Write what you want. Like, I don't think people understand how important it is to write your prayer request to God. Write it in big block letters. Write it. Pray on it. Like, see, keep asking God for whatever you want. In fact, disturb. Like, you know the way you disturb people for things that you want, and you go after things you want, you chase after it. That's the same way you should pray. Pray consistently. Keep praying. Keep asking God for that particular thing you want. No matter what, just keep praying, keep praying, keep praying. It doesn't matter how many years it takes. Keep praying and never don't decide, oh, let me just stop praying, God is not answering my prayers, let me just remove it from my prayer request. No, keep it there and keep praying. Write it in big block bold letters and pray over it, because let me tell you something, God is going to give you what he has promised to give you. Write down your prayer request. Always pray about it every day. Even sometimes when you don't remember a few of your prayer requests, if they're really long, just tell God, for the things I've written down on this paper, you can even hold the paper, or I have a prayer board, so most of my requests are also written, and like I put in an envelope, like my prayer board envelope. I'll put a link to how I made my prayer board below, but basically it has a prayer request section and answered prayers, so I usually put the request consistently as the year goes. So I also always pray over my prayer board. So if you don't remember your prayer request, just always say, God, for the prayers that I've forgotten or I don't remember at the top of my head, I pray upon them. Last but not least, the famous Bible verse that everybody knows, Jeremiah 29. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. This Bible verse is so popular, but it means a lot. Like, it literally means a lot, because God is telling you that he has plans for you. They are not bad plans, they are good plans, and they're going to come very, very soon. So yeah guys, that is my testimony. That is literally my testimony right there. Last year was one of the best years of my entire life, because one thing about last year that stood out to me is I saw God's hand in everything I did. Even the little things, such as, like, maybe for example this year, throughout the whole of last year, once I started seeing the DJI camera, I was like, God, please, I want this camera. Like, I want this camera so bad. And I wasn't going to buy that camera in full price because it was so expensive, so I was waiting for Black Friday to see if it was going to go on sale, and it didn't go on sale. But guess what? My God is too big. God allowed me to get the camera. I currently have the DJI camera, and the way I got it was in the sweetest way possible. I bought it from someone else for a very, very cheap price. It was not even half off, it was a lot lower. So yeah, I see God's hand in little things I do, and I'm very appreciative of things, and I just stop and I'm like, God, thank you. Like, God, thank you. So I think, yeah, like in the little things, be thankful. In the little things that God does for you in your life, be thankful and thank him. Waking up in the morning, being healthy, be thankful. Because I'm telling you guys, like, once you actually sit down and actually look at the things that God does for you, you actually see him working in your life. Like, even writing down the littlest things, I'm telling you, God is constantly working in your life. So I hope my testimony is a blessing to you, and I hope and pray that I've been a destiny helper in your lives today, giving you my testimony. If you have any questions in regards to permanent residency, or you want to know more about how I applied, and maybe you have a few questions, definitely reach out to me. Maybe I'll make a video about that if a lot of people are asking me questions about it. But you can always DM me on Instagram, Chantelle, CHANTE.ELLE. I'm also on TikTok, CHANTE_ELLE. I hope that's correct, but everything will be in my description. So I love you. God bless you always and forever, and thank you for watching my testimony. God bless you. See you next time, guys. Bye.